Hey, what's up guys? Gary Gilgan here. Hope you had a great weekend. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and watching this day 7 of the 90-day challenge. I'm feeling absolutely amazing. I had a fantastic weekend. I hope you did too. In today's video, I want to talk to you about spirituality. I want to break down spirituality, my goals for the next 90 days. Spirituality is, to me, it's very, very simple, but it's also very, very complex, or at least man and our finite minds, I believe that we've made it very, very complex. So I'm definitely not here to push my beliefs or my, I don't have a religion, so my beliefs on anybody. I'm just here to, again, just be accountable, to make videos, maybe and hopefully to inspire some people watching these videos. So for me, I guess what I believe in, to just kind of lay the foundation of some things I'm going to talk about, is I believe that we are not this body. We are a spiritual being that lives inside of this body and that just uses this body, this what I call a biomechanical, like a robot, to travel around this three-dimensional reality that we live in so that we can have experiences. And I believe that the purpose of life is to have experiences with this being through our senses, through our emotions, so that we can progress and we can evolve the conscious awareness of that being, so that we can get better and better and better and better and better infinitely. So we're continuously getting better, because, you know, my Bible is a book called The Science of Getting Rich. I know it may sound like it's about getting rich, but it's really not. There's a very, very deep meaning to that book. And that book, I'll bet I've read, between reading and listening to that book, I bet I've a couple hundred times. So I study it every single day. It's only about 100 pages long. I've been reading it for 10 years now, and it's completely changed my life. And it talks a lot about that. It talks everything in nature and everything around us has always evolved. It's always progressed. Everything always, including us, including our being. And that's the purpose of life, is to continue to grow. Nature in itself is always looking to advance itself. It's always looking to get better. It's always looking to produce more and more and better, always. And so that's what I believe. And I believe that my purpose on this earth is to go through this game called life, through this experience called life, and to collect experiences. And through those experiences, I'm going to learn lessons. And through learning those lessons, I get to what I call go up to the next level of conscious being, so that I'll understand more, I can take in more deeper, more complex information, and I can connect deeper to who I truly am, that being that lives and resides inside of my physical body, and I can become more one, closer to the source of everything. Because I believe that there's a higher power, there's a higher order, which almost emanates from outside of us, and it comes back into us. It's very symbiotic. Everything, there's a law of polarity. There's an up, down, left, right, inside, and outside. And there's an inner world that goes on within us, and there's an outside world that we've become so hypnotized and so programmed and so addicted to this outside world and the experiences of the outside world, that we have become disconnected from who we truly are. We've become disconnected from our being. And it's some things that I've learned over time is, you know, to do things, whether it's meditation or fasting or psychedelics, or there's a lot of different modalities that a person can use, like floating. I just got done doing a float. I do it every Monday. It's a sensory deprivation tank. It's completely pitch black. You put in earplugs, and it cuts off all your senses, and you just float there and kind of meditate, and your conscious kind of separates from your body. And so doing things like that connects one on a deeper level to that inner world that, from my experience, is much more real, and it's much more important, it's much more vast than this outside world of our senses, because with the senses we usually become addicted, and we're usually controlled by our animalistic desires. And so for me, that's just kind of a synopsis on what I believe. I just sat down with a pastor a couple weeks ago, and he gave me this great analogy about think of it like this: if everybody were these two-dimensional blocks. So if we drew a two-dimensional block, okay, this is within this block, this contains all of your information, everything you've learned, everything you believe, all of your programs, everything like that. That is everybody. So 7 billion people on the planet. There's also, I think it's called the 23rd monkey or something like that theory. Well, my beliefs, I mean, they're out there. And I mean, I've had so many people, some of my best friends tell me, dude, you're freaking weird. You think some weird stuff. My girlfriend, my spouse, Danny, she doesn't understand my beliefs. Like, I try to relate to people by saying, hey, I believe in the same thing you believe in. I believe in a higher power. I believe that I'm a spiritual being. I believe in treating people well. I believe in doing the right thing. I believe taking the higher road. But I also believe at a much deeper level. I believe that I am one with God, that I am literally made in the image of God. Therefore, I am God. And my job is to make that realization, make it a part of my belief structure, make it a part of who I am, so that I can start to adopt the powers of God, personal power. Not so much to go out there and try to have dominion over people, but to actually teach people how to do that, to uplift and bring people up. And so I'm going to use two analogies. So the first is, let's go back 2,000 years ago, and I'm going to use the example of Jesus Christ. And again, I'm not a Christian, I'm not religious, I believe in all religions. So I believe in Hinduism and Muslim or Islam, I believe in Christianity, I believe they're all true. I just don't define myself by accepting just one and saying, okay, this is the absolute truth. I don't buy into that. Okay, so let's go back. So let's say 2,000 years ago, everybody was this two-dimensional block, just kind of, going through their life, two-dimensional. This guy named Jesus comes along, and he starts teaching people this new way of thinking, these new concepts, these new beliefs, and people are like, oh my God, just mind blown, things like that. Well, Jesus was a three-dimensional being, okay? Jesus was a three-dimensional being. So he had an advanced consciousness, because he was. I mean, there's stories in the Bible about him doing a fast for 40 days and 40 nights. I mean, I'm sure he was the type of person that he was constantly searching for how to get to that next level of consciousness. And so he was the three-dimensional block, or the three-dimensional cube, surrounded by two-dimensional figures. And that's why everybody was so attracted to him, because they would come to him in droves to listen to what this guy had to say. Oh my God, this guy's got some next-level technology to help me take my life to the next level. And so I've had just some crazy experiences in my life, and when that pastor told me this analogy, I thought, you know what, that's my goal, that's my purpose. My purpose, my goal, my ultimate vision, my ultimate goal is to be that three-dimensional cube that is here to help all the other two-dimensional cubes or two-dimensional figures, because a cube is three-dimensional, so a two-dimensional would be a square, take their conscious awareness to the next level. I'm not here to challenge anybody's beliefs. In fact, when I sat down with that pastor, I kept saying, at the end of the day, I don't care what another person believes. As long as you're out there doing good, you're not killing, you're not murdering, you're not a raper, you're not stealing, you're not beating up little kids. As long as you're doing your best, because I believe 95% of people on this planet, they're full of love. They want to do love. They want to do kind things. They want to serve their family. They want to serve their neighbors. I really do believe that. I believe that war and crime, theft, murder, rape, maybe not rape, because those things are like psychological damage, but I believe that crime and those types of things, war and all those different type of malicious things against other humans, they come from what it stems from is you're not getting a certain level of survival. Food, clothing, shelter, love. You don't have those things. So, I mean, there's been studies done, like even in America, where we go to like ghettos and we go to very poverty-stricken places where there's a lot of crime, robbery, drug use, things like that. It's people with very, very low incomes. So they can't survive, they're barely getting by. So they're thinking, I can only imagine putting myself in their shoes, is that they're thinking, man, my life sucks. And I got to do whatever it takes just to survive. So if I got to rob my neighbor, because again, putting myself in my shoes, if my kids were starving and I had no conscious way, like I looked at my surroundings, I'm like, dude, everybody around me is broke, shit's just crazy. I would steal for my kids. I would steal for my kids. I would do whatever it takes so I can understand. So my belief is, the reason why we have all those things is because people they don't have a certain level of money which will provide them food, clothing, and shelter. So I get off on tangents, so let's get to the thing. So spirituality, 90 days. Number one, what is it that I want? Number one is it's a deeper connection to my higher power. Okay, a deeper connection. So in these videos, if I talk about spirituality or anything, I'm going to use the word God. I'm going to use the word God because people use that word. It's something that we can both relate to through this video. So for me, my goal is to have a deeper connection to my God and having more self-awareness. Not being so driven by my animalistic desires, my senses, things like that. And to overall have a deeper connection to me. Remember in the beginning of the video I said, I am not this body. This body is simply a tool that I use to navigate my way through life. I am the spirit. I am the soul. I am the being that lives within this body. And my goal over the next 90 days is to have a deeper connection, a deeper awareness to what that is, and a deeper relationship to that being. Okay, why? Number one is personal power. Personal power simply means the ability to take action, the ability to do things that other people aren't willing to do because they're not on that level yet. And not to sound egotistical or anything like that, but just like if you sit down and play a Nintendo game, let's use the game Mario Brothers, most people don't play it just to have fun, they play it to win the game. And the goal is to win the game, and in the process, you have fun. So that's my goal, is to experience new levels of power. And number two is having peace of mind. Having peace of mind, having clarity within my mind and in my body, to have a purpose, to be more purposeful. You see through a lot of my videos, a lot of these are congruent with all of my goals. And the last one is to lead by example. It's very important. Going back to this example, Jesus Christ led by example. Muhammad led by example. David led by example. Moses led by example. These great people whom are timeless, who are historical figures. Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, these people they led by example through their works, through their acts, not just by their words. Okay, what are the things I need to do and what are the things I need to not do? I need to pray. Not only do I need to pray, in the sense of getting on my hands and knees and praying, but constantly praying through my actions, praying in my mind while I'm driving down the car. Practicing gratitude. To me, again, in my book, The Science of Getting Rich, it talks about, to me, it's like, let's say your internet cable that connects your computer to your modem. There's a connection from us to source, us to God. And to me, the best way to get a clear signal to that source is to practice gratitude, to be grateful for everything, be grateful for life, be grateful for the hard times, be grateful for the good times, be in a constant state of gratitude, being filled with that emotional state of gratitude. To serve others, to be selfless and to, like, again, using that Jesus analogy, is being willing to sit at someone's feet and wash their feet and serve them, and wanting to please another person before yourself. And then definitely don'ts is anything that disconnects me from source. And that's another reason why, as we get more into these videos, I'll show you like what my diet's all about and what I'm all about. Everything you put in your body. TV, radio, I never listen to the radio. I never watch TV. It's all about what you're putting into your being, what you're programming your being. So I want to discontinue, kind of just unplug those things, whatever they may be, that would disconnect me from God. I want to unplug those and stop practicing those altogether, and continue. As you get to one level, you'll make fine adjustments. Oh man, I've been doing this. I need to stop doing this so I can go to the next level. It never ends. Okay? What are the beliefs I have to have? There's the synopsis in my book is there's a source from which all things are made. Okay, so again, it's saying that, hey, God is the creator. He created everything. Same difference. Okay, there's a source. There's a source from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. Okay, so this has been proven on a scientific level that everything, this table, my body, this marker, we are all made of the exact same thing. Atoms and electrons and neurons and all these different ons, you know what I'm saying? It's all the same thing. It's a source. It's a thinking stuff. Okay, and I am made from this source. I am made from this source. I'm connected to this source. And there's an infinite love that this source has for me, and my job, my goal in this next 98 days is to cultivate a deeper love and connection to that source. And then finally, what questions can I ask is, what can I do today to strengthen my connection to source? What can I do today to strengthen my connection to God? So meditating, praying, practicing gratitude, serving other people, practicing compassion, not practicing things that could disconnect me. Like I said, it's very, very simple. Being spirituality or whatever it is that you want to believe in, at the end of the day, you might read this big, fat, thick book, but at the end of the day, the practices are very simple. They're simple to understand, but that's why we have this life, is to try to figure it out and to try to make it a disciplined habit. Trying to make the praying and the peace of mind and the gratitude and the service and the compassion, trying to make that a part of our character, a part of our being. I think that's the purpose why we're here. And that's just my 2 cents. Again, I'm not trying to sway anybody's belief, but at the end of the day, for the past 10 years, is that it's served me well. It's fulfilled me. It's given me a purpose. It's given me that star that I've been consistently, every day, just taking steps towards it. And if you watch the first video, I've screwed up. I've made mistakes, just like everybody else. I'm definitely not perfect. Okay, I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm consistently and constantly, it's on my mind, it's in my soul, it's programmed into my DNA to believe this stuff and to continue to gather information and gather experiences and gather lessons so that I can ultimately grow and evolve and progress my being. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to keep them low. I try to keep the videos down, but man, I'm a rambler. I get in front of this camera, I'm just talking. So 20 minutes, right? Yep, 20 minutes. So sorry, I hope you made it through it. I really hope this is good information so that you stick all the way through it. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have an even better week. Have a great night. See you later.